What's up guys, I'm Shooting Dave and today I'm going to tell you how I shot and edited Mike Burrows' 31 Ford Model A from Stanceworks. So it was the last day of my trip to LA. Now if you've not seen my trip to LA, the video is up here if you want to have a look. And I had one spare evening free, so I decided to contact Mike over Instagram, and he was nice enough to oblige to let me come and shoot his car. Now the gear that I used to shoot this car was pretty much the same that I use every time. A Canon 5D Mark III, a 35mm f2 lens, and my Camera Plus CP MTL2 light. This LED is amazing, it comes with me everywhere, and it's just about small enough to fit inside my carry-on bag. Now shooting this rat rod is pretty straightforward. It's basically a massive matte object. There is no paint, so to speak, on this car, so lighting it is very easy. Basically plant your light where you want and you illuminate the vehicle. Now I started with my camera on a tripod at f8, ISO 100 and about a 12-second exposure so I can get through the image without having to rush too much. So on this car I started with the largest portion of the vehicle, which is the side of the car. I basically walked from the camera to the rear of the vehicle, lighting the car. So we have a side exposure, then onto a front exposure, repeating the same process. I then walked around the back of the vehicle to get the rim light, headlight exposure, and then basically an ambient light exposure, which is just turning on the shop lights. And then basically we put all of these images together. Now I'm not going to talk to you too much about the shooting process. Today is mainly focused on the editing side of things. So let's jump straight into Photoshop and I'll walk you through it. So before we jump into Photoshop, these are the exposures that I was using to build up the final image. There's not much really done inside of all of these. I just basically did some basic adjustments by toning down the highlights a little bit, boosting the shadows, and then doing a little bit of lens corrections, as well as removing any of the sharpening, because I'm going to do that at the end of the project. So once you've got all of these, you can select them all, come up to the top, go Photo, Edit in, and Open as layers in Photoshop. And now what this will do is it will load all of the photos into a stack on top of each other, so you have them all inside one document. Once you've done that, you should be able to jump straight into Photoshop. So here we are inside Photoshop, and I'm starting with one of the ambient light layers. You will note that I've already labelled all of my layers inside the Photoshop stack already, and we start building up from the bottom. So here's one of the brighter ambient layers that I've used, and I've got some smart filters on here, which is just basically using the camera raw filter inside Photoshop. And all I've done here is I've just cooled down the image just a little bit to take away some of the orange hue inside of there. Now I have two of these ambient layers. The second one is literally just applied over the top, and it's masked only just to reveal basically the wall, because I liked how bright it was on the floor. However, I thought it was a little hot on the wall, so I used a darker exposure. I then have a curves adjustment layer on top of that, which is boosting the shadows a little bit and then just holding the highlights down just to stop them from blowing out. Moving on from there, we have our next light painted layer. Now this one is the rim light. It's set to lighten, and I've reduced the opacity a little bit, and what it's doing is lighting up the floor around the side of the car. A rim light is often a good one to use to add some nice good looking spill to the floor around the car, just to help pop it off. And I've masked this basically just so it's affecting the floor. Moving on from there, I've now used the car headlights and tail lights pass. This one has been masked off. So this is, if I set this back to normal, you'll see this is what that pass looks like. You can see there's plenty of spill out onto the floor and a nice big bright red tail light glow all over the background. Now I had this one set to screen so it doesn't blow out over the top of the background. And you can turn it on and off here, and I've just basically masked that so it only really affects the floor, and I tidied up the glow around the rear here because it's kind of creating like a weird angle here. If you have a look, it's going off in like a wedge shape, and I didn't really find that pleasing, and I wanted it to be a little bit more uniform across the back. And that's basically all we do for the background. I always like to work in my images up in different sections, starting with the background, then moving on to the car, and then moving on to any additional passes at the top, like additional headlights. So this is where we got to, and then moving on into the car group. The car group is masked off by itself with just a mask for the entire vehicle. Now I did that just by walking around the vehicle with the pen tool and basically just like plotting out different points around it to make a nice mask. I've done this in previous videos. You can check the link above if you want to see a bit more of a broken down process into how to do that, but for now we'll just move on. So the first pass, as I mentioned in the video, is always the one that I started lighting with first. Now this is the side nig, so I've labelled this one side good, and that's because to me it's an appealing layer and a good base point to start with on the vehicle. Now I've masked it off, and if I remove this mask you'll see why. You'll see the top of the vehicle is a little blown out for my liking, so I just basically wanted to remove that section there and just have the rest of the light be set to the side. To combat that missing piece of the roof, I basically used another light pass, which is a higher side. If we just set this back to take the mask off and set it to normal, this is what it would look like. See, it's much duller than the first side. That's because I changed the power on the light. Now this one's just basically all I'm going to do is use this section up here and brush it in where the other one is missing. So if you look at this mask versus this mask, they're essentially just inversions of each other. So those two together make one pass. Now, next one is the rim light. Now this is set to lighten mode. If I remove the mask and set this back to normal, you'll be able to see what this is. And this is like similar to what I use to the floor, where I just walk around the rear of the vehicle. So it's called a rim light because it goes around the rim of the vehicle and just pulls it off of the background. And I use this just to help boost up the rear of the vehicle and pull it off. So I didn't want it everywhere, so I have masked it out a little bit, and that's mainly because of the rear wheel down here. I didn't want that additional little blur down there. And we have a bit of front fill here. Now if I disable the layer mask onto this, you can see it does a huge amount to this image. Some really nice details down here in the front wheel. I didn't really want to include those though, otherwise the vehicle would look slightly overlit. Instead, what I decided to use this layer for was primarily just inside the cabin here, so we can actually see a little bit more of the stainless steel seats that are in there. So if I turn this off, you can see it gets very dark inside. Bring it back and you've got a bit more life, and you can see the rest of the frame around the window. And then the final pass for the vehicle was the wheels. These wheels are pretty special. They're from, I do believe Mike said they're from Isma racing car, so they're pretty special, and I wanted to make a big deal of them because they're an unusual design. You don't often see them, and also you've got the big Michelin Le Mans style wet slick tyres, and it was nice to bring those ones out as well. So that basically is it for the entire vehicle. The only thing I did on top of that was add the car vehicle lights back into the front here, and that's just a lights copy, and all I've done is masked it just to this front grille area so it lights it up quite nicely. And I just put curves on there, simply just dropping the shadows down a little bit but holding the highlights where they are. So this just helps retain a little bit more detail across that front grille rather than it completely blowing out. And that's pretty much it for Photoshop. The rest of the adjustments were made inside Lightroom, so we'll jump back into that and I'll show you how I finished the image off. So here's the image straight from Photoshop and back into Lightroom, and I made some adjustments to get the image looking like this. So as you can see, it's a little bit grungy, a little bit moody, and colour tone just the way I like. So I'm going to walk you through the changes I made inside Lightroom. Now the first thing you might notice is the little flare up here has disappeared. Now I simply did that by using the spot healing tool and just basically brushing and then resampling from a different area to heal that area and get rid of it. I then cooled the image down a little bit further whilst dropping the exposure. I recovered some of the highlights and then boosted some of the shadows. Now I left the whites and the black points alone. I covered those in the tone curve, and I'll get to those in just a second. I then added a little bit of clarity just to help enhance some of the details that were there. I increased the vibrancy whilst desaturating the image, and that way you get a more of a bold look colour but without that cartoony look as well. So punching up those colours but desaturating the overall saturation so that it doesn't blow out too much. In the tone curve, I pushed up the highlights, or the top part of the highlights, a little bit further. I then dropped the shadows but also lifted up the black point. So if you notice, if I press J on the keyboard, this should show me in blue where the area's gone past black, and in red any areas that have gone past white. Now there's no areas in this image at all that have gone past black. However, if you look very closely just on this little piece of metal here, we've just gone a little bit past white. Now typically I like to try and keep all of my image within the white and black points. I don't necessarily mind if information goes too dark, but I like to try and keep it there. So I can live with that little area going past white. If we look at the blue channel of this, you'll see I pushed some blue into the shadows and also reduced the amount of blue, therefore increasing the amount of yellow in some of the highlights. If we go into green, you can see it's untouched, and the same for red as well. So that's basically it, what you did for the basic panel. If we move down, you can see where I added some sharpening. Now I went quite heavy with the amount of sharpening and a reasonably large radius as well. As the car isn't so big in frame, it can afford to have a slightly larger radius. I've also pushed the detail amount up quite a way, but we combated this by adding some masking in. So if we look at the masking here and hold down Alt whilst clicking on that slider, anything in white is being sharpened and anything in black is basically being left alone. So it's not a global effect, it's only affecting the details that I wanted. I also added a little bit of noise reduction to the image, and that's how we finished off the image, and I'm pretty happy with it. Now I was really happy with this image, but a few of you on Facebook decided that you would question whether I would correct the background or not. Now, it's a personal choice, the reason why I kept it a warm background. From this, you can see that I like warm backgrounds as it is. But some of you were right. I could have and should have perhaps corrected the background. So I jumped back into Photoshop after this video was done and had a little play around to see which one I prefer. But I'm really interested to know which one you guys prefer. Do you like the warm background or do you like the cool background? Just let me know in that little poll. I'd love to know your thoughts. Well, that's all from me, folks. I hope you found this video useful and there's some interesting tips in there for you. Now, don't forget to let me know in the comment section which one you prefer, the warm or the cool image. I'd love to know your thoughts on that one. I'm kind of torn in between and I really can't make up my mind. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe and all those other things YouTubers tell you to do, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!